not only in India, but apart from India also many students have participated. Like Uganda is there, then UAE is there. This year also we have getting two students outside in India. So learn from the best. These are our few faculties who are renowned in industry of educational as well as industry. So as mentioned, these are the two diploma courses. So we'll go to that later on. So these are some students' testimonials, which is the last year or last to last year students who have done these courses and their thoughts on the same. So if you go, so this is our current team. And these are the list of our past president who is the pillar of the color society. So we have mentioned all the names from 1952 till date. Then as mentioned, this is our pen technology diploma courses. So we have mentioned all the details why it is important for the working professionals or the unskilled workers to learn this course. Similarly, we have ink technology diploma courses also. Now we have the event page where we have showcase all the photos of our past events like annual lecture seminar. Then we have the videos of our past event like the online lectures of late N.R. Kamath Memorial, late C.J. Bhumkar lecture, etc. And here we have the student login. So when the online lectures are there, student will attend the lecture through Zoom, but we have all the data of the students like how many lectures he have attended, then the students detail how frequently he attend the lecture and how much time he is available on screen. So all these details mentioned in this student login details. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. As we all know today, even if we are physically alive, if we don't have an online presence, we're as good as being dead. So really wishing Color Society all the very best for the new website. Let's move on. As Mr. Shivaji has already given a good introduction about the late C.J. Bhumkar, I actually want to open the mic to anyone from the audience who wants to share a little bit about their, yes, Mr. Malyarkar, please, who wants to share a little bit about their memories or moments. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So Mr. Mukul Halyalkar would like to come on stage to share a few words.
पु ल देशपांडे म्हणत होते की नमस्कार करण्यासारखे पायच राहिलेले नाहीत आता, तर म्हणून मी नमस्कार करून आलो. तर आय गॉट सच अ रिस्पेक्ट अबाउट भूमकर सर. आणि मी आज मराठीत बोलणार आहे, इंग्लिशमध्ये बोलणार नाही आहे. कारण काय, ज्या भावना आहेत त्या आपल्या मराठी भाषेतून ज्या मी पोचवू शकतो त्या इंग्लिशमध्ये पोचवू शकणार नाही. एक उदाहरण सांगायचं झालं तर, पुरणपोळी दुधात कुस्करून खा ह्याचं इंग्लिश ट्रान्सलेशन होऊच शकत नाही. नंतर आज कलर सोसायटीसाठी ज्ञानेश्वरांच्या भाषेत सांगायचं तर सोनियाचा दिवस आहे. सोनियाचा दिवस आहे. 3 कुलगुरू 3 विद्यापीठाचे व्यासपीठावरती लाभले. 3 कुलगुरू 3 विद्यापीठाचे व्यासपीठावर लाभले. आणि दुसरं सांगायचं होतं, पंडित सर हे तिघही जे आहेत त्यांच्या नावातच सगळं काही आलेलं आहे. पंडित सर म्हणजे पंडित आहेत, म्हणजे पंडित इटसेल्फ सेज विच नीड नॉट टॉक अबाउट हिम. आर डी कुलकर्णी सर, आर डी म्हणजे माहिती आहे ना, रिसर्च अँड डेव्हलपमेंट त्यांच्याकडे. आणि महानवर सर चांगलं महानच आहे, ते आडनावाला महान आहेत. महानवर सर आडनावाचं महान आहेत. आणि कलर सोसायटीचे एमिरेट सेक्रेटरी आहे, एमिरेटस म्हणतात ना, एमिरेटस सेक्रेटरी आहेत. आणि शेवटी अभिमानाची गोष्ट आहे, आपला माणूस कलर सोसायटीचा माणूस आहे. आपला माणूस आज व्हाईस चान्सलर झाला, ह्याचा आनंद खूप आहे. आता साहेबांविषयी मागच्या वर्षी पण सर बोलले होते आणि हे सर पण बोलले होते, पण मी त्यांच्याविषयी जे काय शिकलो, म्हणजे मला उमजलेले म्हणतात त्याला, मला उमजलेले भूमकर साहेब, आणि मी त्यांच्याकडून जे आत्मसात केलं आणि आय इम्प्लिमेंटेड, तर ते सांगायचं आहे. एक तर ते अष्टपैलू व्यक्तिमत्व होतं, उत्तम ॲडमिनिस्ट्रेटर होते, टेक्निकल पर्सनॅलिटी ही वॉज एक्सलंट, सक्सेसफुल एंटरप्रुनर. एक एंटरप्रुनर व्हायला 10 इतर क्वालिटीज लागतात, त्या पण त्यांच्याकडे होत्या. आणि ही वॉज एक्सलंट स्पीकर, उत्तम वक्ता होते. त्यांच्या भाषणात मी बघितलं, मग व्हॉईस मॉड्युलेशन करायचे ते, व्हॉईस मॉड्युलेशन आणि एक्स टेम्पो बोलायचे, 2-2 तास काही चिठ्ठी. आता मला 5 मिनटं बोलायचं होतं, मी लिहून आणलं काय, तसं काही नव्हतं त्यांच्यात. आणि एकदा, आणि त्यांचा एक स्वभाव मी बघितला, एक पॅनल डिस्कशन होतं फरियाजमध्ये फार वर्षापूर्वी, तर मग मला वाटतं प्रशांत ते तेव्हा प्रेसिडेंट होते, तर सेशन चेअरमन होते साहेब, आणि आय वॉज स्पीकर. तर माझा बायोडेटा त्यांनी वाचला होता. नंतर मला माहिती नव्हतं की साहेबांनी मला कुठच्या नेऊन ठेवलं होतं. म्हणजे त्यांचं कसं होतं की ते नेहमी समोरच्या माणसाला मान द्यायचे. हल्ली आपण मान पकडतो समोरच्या माणसाची, हा फरक आहे त्यांच्यात आणि आपल्यात. तर ते समोरच्या माणसाला नेहमी, आणि मला त्यांचं जे मी लेक्चर्स ऐकली ना, त्याच्यात मला पहिल्यांदा समजलं मंत्रमुग्ध म्हणजे काय होतं. आपण त्यांचे जे जेव्हा बोलायचे ना, तर असं वाटायचं की काही नाही, सगळं आपण जग सगळं विसरून गेले, असे एनग्रॉस व्हायचो आपण त्यांच्यामध्ये. आणि त्यांच्या स्वभावात सौजन्य तर होतंच, त्यामुळे ते त्यांच्या कंपनीचं नाव पण सौजन्यच आहे. आणि कधी पण बोलले भेटले तर एक आपुलकीचा हे असायचं, म्हणजे कोणी लहान असो, मी फार हे आहे मोठ्या पोस्टवरती, असं त्यांना काही नव्हतं. आणि ऑलवेज किंवा वेल ड्रेस्ड असायचे, पण ते मला काय आत्मसात करायला जमलं नाही ते काय. आणि त्यांचं ज्ञानेश्वरी, संस्कृत, संगीत ह्या विषयामध्ये पण अभ्यास चांगला होता. आय थिंक प्रियाताई, इन युअर सन दॅट जीन्स हॅव कम. त्यांची ज्ञानेश्वरीवरती अभ्यास खूप चांगला होता. कलर सोसायटीला 2002मध्ये नेहरू सेंटरमध्ये 50 वर्षाचं सेलिब्रेशन झालं, तेव्हा त्यांनी सांगितलं होतं 52 साली कलर सोसायटीचं इवलेसं रोप लावलं, त्याचा वेलू अग्नावरी गेला. हे अजूनही मला आठवते. तर त्यांची भाषणं सगळी इथे बसलेली आहेत. आणि अजून एक मला त्यांचा स्वभाव आवडला, आणि ही जी प्रथा आहे ना, दॅन रीडिंग रुटीन बायोडेटा, त्या माणसाविषयी काही किस्से, काही त्यांच्या आठवणी, त्या कित्येक त्यांच्या फॅमिली मेंबर्सना सुद्धा दे आर नॉट अवेअर, असे सांगायची पद्धत मी सुरू केली. नाहीतर NR कामतांच्या वेळेला ही बॉर्न इन द मुलकी, तो त्यांचा बायोडेटा हळूहळू दरवर्षी लेक्चर ऐकून पाठ होऊन गेला. तसं नको, काहीतरी त्या माणसाबद्दल त्याच्या जवळपासच्या लोकांनी अनुभव सांगावेत. तर एकदा काय झालं, नेहरू सेंटरमध्ये त्यांचा स्टॉल होता सौजन्याचा. मी स्टॉलवरनं चाललो होतो असं. तर त्यांनी मला बोलवलं, अरे या ना हुल्ल्याळकर. आणि त्यांनी मला कधी तू नाही म्हटलं, तुम्ही. त्यांचा एक स्वभावच होता समोरच्याला रिस्पेक्ट द्यायचा. तर म्हटलं सर, आय नो युअर प्रॉडक्ट्स. त्यांनी नंतर ब्रह्मास्त्र काढलं. त्यांनी काय सांगितलं, ॲटलिस्ट टू कम सी माय बॉईज आर डुईंग डिटेलिंग. ते तर ऐकायला ये, ते शिकवतील आमची प्रॉडक्ट्स. आणि मग मी त्यांच्या स्टॉलवर एक तासभर होतो. आणि आता हे जे टिकुरीलापासून जे सुरुवात झाली, युनिव्हर्सल स्टेनर आणि कलरंट वगैरे, ह्याच्यामध्ये त्यांनी मला एकदा 4 तास फॅक्टरीमध्ये जाऊन कलरंट आणि कसं बेसचं फॉर्म्युलेशन कसं करायचं त्याच्याविषयी त्यांनी मला शिकवलं. त्यांनी मला 81 शेडची एक CD बनवून दिली होती. हे जर बेस असतील, एवढे टिटॅनियम असेल, तर हा तुमचा प्रोग्राम आहे. त्याला आपण हे म्हणतो जी डेटा. आणि मग काय, आमच्यासारखे कन्सल्टंटना थोडं नॉलेज मिळालं बस असतं. मग देन वी स्टार्ट मिंटिंग मनी ऑन दॅट नॉलेज. आणि थोडं ज्ञान, पैसे खूप, असे आम्ही असतो सगळे कन्सल्टंट लोक. सगळे नाही, मी तरी त्यातला आहे. पण एनिवे, नाऊ व्हॉट एव्हर आय एम टुडे, मी त्यांच्या ऋणात आहे. त्यांचं ऋण मी काय चुकवू शकणार नाही. त्यांनी जे काय मला प्रेम दिलं, जे काय नॉलेज दिलं. आणि थँक्स टू कलर सोसायटी मला इथे 5 मिनटं बोलण्यासाठी वेळ दिल्याबद्दल थँक्यू व्हेरी मच.
Thank you, Mukundji. It's always a pleasure listening to what you have to say. Continuing the tribute, I now invite Ms. Priya Bhumkar, daughter-in-law of late C.J. Bhumkar, to share few heartfelt memories and moments.
Namaskar. Good evening. Color Society, thank you so much for arranging this lecture each and every year. Today it is 15 years. This lecture has been going on for 15 years, since 2009. And this is the 15th lecture, if I'm not mistaken. And I can't tell you how overwhelmed we feel every time. Every time that we come and we interact with Color Society, or on any platform, in fact, in the industry, whether it is within UDCT, or even if it is meetings in our offices or in conferences or seminars, or when we go and visit people, and still the warmth and the currentness with which everyone still has a sentiment for my father-in-law, for Mr. Bhumkar. And it's very real. It doesn't feel like he was there, like it's 15 years since he's no more there with us. It feels like he's still around with us. He is there in people's hearts, in memories, and he is just present in the industry, still in the consciousness of the industry. And I can't tell you how overwhelming it is for us as a family each time to see the warmth and the sentiment which everyone has for him. Thank you so, so much for remembering him, and also for arranging this lecture every year, to keep his memory alive. What we are seeing is the times in which he existed and the times which we are living in today. There is a big difference. I think what the world that we live today is not what we were living in so many years ago. But, and the way people are, the way everything is in the world, the way we live our lives is very, very different. But if we were to think back about him and about his life, and then I would like to say that there are a lot of things which have changed, but there are so many things which have not changed also in so many years. And a lot of these are the good values, or the good way, or the good life, or the goodness in life that one lived with. And I think that can still, we can still draw lessons and memories. And looking at a personality like Mr. Bhumkar, my father-in-law, I'd like to talk about the 4 lessons that I think we can still draw parallel from and which are still relevant even today, even though everything has changed so much. I think, and we remember these qualities of him, all the time, and they continue to inspire us and guide us in our lives. And the first quality of his, which I'd like to recall, is courage. Facing so many situations, even he was first, in a company, then he was an entrepreneur, and even in personal life, so many situations. But we never saw him lose courage, no matter how difficult a situation, how stressful or how tough a situation. And we always saw him एकदम आपण म्हणतो ना सामोरा जाणे, धडक होती एक त्यांच्यामध्ये, कुठलीही सिच्युएशनला ते सामोरे जात असत. आणि it's something that has remained with us, and it has taught us also to be courageous in life, no matter what you're facing with. The second one is the utter sincerity with which he did everything. He was a very authentic person, and maybe that's why his authenticity is something why also people remember him, because he was very, very true to himself and the person that he was. And absolutely sincere, जे काही ते करत असत ते म्हणजे मन लावून म्हणजे 100%. He is there 100% in whatever he is doing. And I think that is what made everything that he did so memorable and so effective. And he got things done and he moved places because of that. The third quality is the ability to work hard, immensely hard. I don't think there is a day in his life where we didn't see him working less hard than like 100%. No matter how many hours he has to put in, or getting into the absolute depths of and the detailing of everything that he did. Lot of hard work. And then finally, I think the fourth one is it was all about people for him. And I think मुकुंदराव आपण आत्ताच मेन्शन केलं की ते लोकांबद्दल नेहमी विचार करत असत. सो his true warmth and his utter connect, absolute connect with people, no matter who they are, and like always treating people with respect and warmth and real affection. It was nothing was. I think these 4 are the inspiring qualities which we still remember today: courage, his sincerity, ability to work immensely hard, and it was always about people with him. I think these are the memories which continue to inspire us about him. And coming to today's lecture, thank you so much, Dr. Kulkarni, for accepting the talk today. You're going to talk about education and the future of education. I think this institute is legendary for the number of people's lives that it has impacted and for the knowledge that it has imparted. And my father-in-law himself was in the deep pursuit of knowledge throughout his life. So it's an honor for us to have you talk about education and future generations. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Priyaji. I think we can all resonate with the qualities not just necessary for entrepreneurship, but also the students and professors, because in every stage of life, we need these 4 qualities to take us to the higher level. And I have never met your father-in-law, but today I could certainly say that I see all those qualities, glimpses and embodiment of it in you, as well as every person I've interacted with from Saujanya. So thank you so much. And now I invite Mr. Professor A.B. Pandit, Vice Chancellor of ICT Mumbai, to share a few words of wisdom and inspiration for all of us.
Today's speaker, Professor Dr. R.D. Kulkarni, Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Prakash Mahanavar, President Shivaji Durgale, all those who have been regularly attending all the Color Society events. I have seen one difference between many other societies and Color Society. Most of the time, the Color Society has a fixed set of attendance. All those people you always see for every Color Society event. And it's a very, very close-knit family, which I see. Everybody knows everybody. Not only they know each other's strengths, each other's weaknesses, and they assist each other in growing together. And that is the function of any society. Society is not just a place where you come together and uh, just chit chat, but it is a professional society, and whatever the society is expected to do for the growth of the business, for the growth of a particular area, Color Society is doing all that. And this particular lecture series is aptly fitting into the objectives of the Color Society, and it is a very well event which all Color Society members always look forward to. In the past, it has covered various topics, mostly technical topics, business related topics, management related topics. But today's topic, which has been chosen, is actually very, very important because India is at a juncture of a sea change in the overall education scenario. With the implementation of National Education Policy 2020, there is a complete sea change in the way the education is going to be imparted. Fortunately, ICT has always incorporated all those which NEP 2020 is asking us to do before NEP 2020 was thought of. And that is the result which you see today in terms of ICT faculty, ICT alumni contributing to the growth of the nation as well as contributing immensely to the industry, to the society, so on and so forth. Now, in my opinion, this is going to be a second revolution which is going to come. NEP has been implemented from this year onwards at ICT also. So, for the next 4 years, we will be running 2 courses parallelly, one course based on NEP 2020 for which the students have taken admission in 23, and the course from the earlier older course which we will continue till they graduate. And you will realize that there is not going to be much of a difference except the way the education is delivered, the education is imparted. With the availability of knowledge at your fingertips, the role of a teacher has significantly changed. In earlier days, it was teacher's job to go through the literature, to sit in the library, take out notes, collect information from multiple papers, and then prepare notes and then give lectures. Today, that is not required. Everything is available at fingertips for all the students who are going to sit in your class. So your role necessarily is now how to use that knowledge which is available to you, the sea of knowledge which is available to you, how to select and choose that knowledge which is going to be necessary for your own growth, for the growth of the society and the growth of the nation. So this orientation change or orientational change which is required in the teacher of today is the one which we need to adopt, which we need to accept, and which we need to act upon. And fortunately, ICT has always taken lead in this. In fact, only for the past 6 weeks or so, we did conduct an faculty development program involving all our new 26 young faculty who were inducted last year, conducting a course for them, a faculty development program for them, each lasting a day, conducted by all senior teachers, giving them a complete picture of starting from teaching pedagogy to career growth requirements. And that was received very well, and similar to Color Society offering expertise in diploma in paint and ink technology, we also plan to offer, of course free of charge, maybe to start with, to all those teachers who are interested in improving themselves and in turn improving the quality of the students which they produce. So this lecture today is in fact a tribute to C.J. Bhumkar, Late Shri C.J. Bhumkar, mainly because this will address the way he has helped his colleagues, he has helped his collaborators in growing together and establishing themselves in the paint industry. We just heard the kind of assistance which he had given to many, and people still remember that. So I'm very happy that Professor R.D. Kulkarni has agreed to give this today's lecture, and we all look forward to listening to Professor R.D. Kulkarni in terms of future of education and higher education institute after 100 years of independence in 2047. Professor R.D. Kulkarni, thank you very much, and thank you all for coming.
Thank you so much, sir. Let's delve into the heart of today's event as Mr. Prakash Darpare, our Honorable Vice President, introduces our distinguished speaker, Professor Dr. R.D. Kulkarni. Let's prepare ourselves to be enlightened by Professor R.D. Kulkarni as he represents a visionary lecture on universities and higher educations in 2047, vision and roadmap for the next 25 years.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome everyone who have joined us today for the Late Shri C.J. Bhumkar Memorial Lectures. Today, on behalf of the Color Society, I would like to take this time to introduce my friend and today's speaker, Professor Ravindra D. Kulkarni. Professor Ravindra D. Kulkarni is the Vice Chancellor of University of Mumbai, earlier known as University of Bombay. Professor R.D. Kulkarni has a 30 years experience as a senior professor in the field of chemical technology. Before joining as a Vice Chancellor, University of Mumbai, he was a Pro Vice Chancellor, University of Mumbai. Head and Professor, Department of Oil, Oleochemical and Surfactant Technology, Institute of Chemical Technology, Matunga, Mumbai, and Professor and Head, Department of Paint Technology and Director at UICT, North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon. His research area includes renewable polymers, nanopigments, and green functional paint, oleochemicals, surfactant, and biolubricants. His research is based on combining the green approach and ultra-scientific tools to track the chemical and physical transformations brought out by surfactant mediated protocols. He has received several prestigious awards and recognitions such as UAAICT Distinguished Alumni Awards, Academics Professor J.G. Kane Memorial Awards, Fellow of Maharashtra Academy of Science, elected Life Fellow of Indian Chemical Society, AMDP Korea Best Teacher Awards. He is working for various consultancy assignments for renowned industry. During his tenure, University of Mumbai bestowed with A++ grading with CGPA of 3.65 in 2021 by NAC and category first university status in 2023 by University Grants Commission, New Delhi. He widely traveled to several foreign countries for conference, presentation, professional interaction, and visit to various universities. Professor Kulkarni entrusted with responsibilities such as visitor nominee for selection of faculty in IIT Chennai, many NEETs and IISER, Chancellor nominee for selection of statutory officers in state university and expert in central and state government committee, Chairman member in the Search cum Selection Committee for selection of Vice Chancellor in the university at Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, Bihar. Professor Kulkarni served as member on Senate, Academy Council and Board of Research in many universities in Maharashtra. Member Working Group of Preparation of Guideline for University Industry Linkage Programs. UGC New Delhi Committee for JJ State University, Chairman Committee for the design of 4-year multidisciplinary degree and dual degree program in line with NEP 2020. Higher and Technical Education Department, Government of Maharashtra. Professor Kulkarni is working as a member, Maharashtra State NEP Implementation Steering Committee, Department of Higher and Technical Education, Government of Maharashtra. Member Council of Inter-University for Astronomy and Astrophysics, Member Council and Governing Board of the Implement Center, Gandhinagar, Conveyor Fatty Acid FAD Subgroup on Oil, Bureau of Indian Standard, BIS. He travels and delivers talk across Maharashtra state of sensitizations of stakeholder and implementation of NEP. Thank you very much. हे बंद करा का
Very good evening to all of you. Very good evening. My mentor and Honorable Vice Chancellor of ICT, Professor A.B. Pandit. My colleague Vice Chancellor, Professor Mahanwar, Vice Chancellor of Punya Shlok Ahilyabai Holkar University, Ahilyabai Holkar Solapur University. Madam Priya Bhumkar, Managing Director, Sojourn Enterprises and daughter-in-law of late C.J. Bhumkar. Sri Shivaji, President of Color Society, Prakashji, Vice President of Color Society, and all my distinguished fellow colleagues. It is indeed an honor for me to deliver talk in the memory of late C.J. Bhumkar, who has been known for his very much innovative style of working in the field of paint technology. He has been pioneering in the area of tinters, bases, and as well as really very much expert in shade development as well. And as we have come across, he has led to the generations of technocrats working in the field of paint technology. So let me pay rich tribute to C.J. Bhumkar, and I consider it as my honor for delivering talk in his memory. Also, congratulations to Color Society, who has developed now a website and has gone, in fact, more online, and that has presented probably and eliminated, in fact, we would say that it has eliminated the gap between the students who are taking up diploma or certificate courses either in paints or printing inks and probably the Color Society. Now, because of online, the students will have an access to the content of printing ink as well as paint technology courses at any place, at any time, and at anywhere. So that's really a great contribution by Color Society, and let me extend sincere congratulations to you. It has been repeatedly stated that there are 3 vice chancellors on the stage, but probably one of the key connecting link that's more important than all of us being as a vice chancellor. The connecting link is all of us are ICTians. We are originally UDCTians, and probably that is more important than being a vice chancellor. That's why I just would like to present. Friends, when I was discussing with Vice Chancellor Professor Mahanwar regarding the topic that is to be delivered during this C.J. Bhumkar Memorial Lecture, I just thought of what could have been the right way. So whether it should have been connected to actual technological areas or should it be in another area. But say myself, Professor Manwar, and probably all state university vice chancellors are involved in undertaking lot of transformations. And probably for all of us, so different developments are taking place at such a fast pace that we would always say to our colleague that this should have been done something yesterday, not tomorrow. So that is what every day we are coming across different developments, and probably we are pushing our colleagues, our fellow colleagues, either deans or faculty colleagues, as well as non-teaching administrators, to see that the different developments that are connected with education being facilitated in a best possible way. Now, probably when we are thinking about university as a system for providing higher education, I have purposely added two different terms, university and higher education institutions, because under NEP we are going to come across three levels of institutions, and first two levels are connected to universities, either imparting research and teaching, and second more focused on teaching, but third is probably a degree granting institutions. And that is where probably with these three levels we expect universities to become independent rather than affiliating state, and that is where the universities will get now better opportunity, better chance, better platform, so as to undertake different expectations that are there from the stakeholders. Right now, whenever we as a vice chancellor meet different stakeholders, just I met my teacher, Professor Shenoy. So he immediately asked, rather than asking, like whenever we at an ICT, normally when a faculty discusses, okay, it is always connected with certain technological development, it is something new research areas. But whenever someone is asking a state university vice chancellor, he is always being confronted with certain questions, whether the exams are going in a right way, whether the governance reforms are being conducted in a right way, are they student centric, are you facilitating a right way that so that the students get better access to higher education? These are the normal questions which we come across. Primarily it imparts that university is being presented as if it is more like an exam conducting body only and nothing else. So right now, naturally, as an university vice chancellor, I have always discussed with my colleague, like in what way our University of Mumbai should have been presented. Okay, say for example, like University of Mumbai should have been presented as someone having a institution which is advising government of Maharashtra, which is providing a right advice to the government of Maharashtra in terms of economics policy development. Probably I may be looking for an University of Mumbai which is providing a right connect between science development and the humanity aspects in terms of a sociological fields. Can I have that kind of a presentation of University of Mumbai? So that presentation does exist, but nobody recognizes that. Now, probably when I am looking for changes of universities for next 25 years, primarily next 25 years, why I say, because in 2047 we would be celebrating 100 years of independence of our university. And that is where, when I am looking for what is happening in the past, probably what has gone wrong, what should have been done, in what are likely corrective facilitations, what are likely constructive additions, if I am looking for that. So taking some clue from past and looking at what are probable changes, transformations, which university should undertake for next 25 years. Not only universities, but all higher education institutions which are now connected to universities, right now as an affiliated college, but going to become a autonomous institutions in the in coming years. Say for example, if I am talking about my own university, University of Mumbai, if I just present a statistics, okay, it has around 874 affiliated colleges connected across 7 districts, okay, one of the largest jurisdiction across India, probably facilitating education for 8 lakh students, conducting examinations almost for 525 plus subjects which are growing which programs are simply increasing day by day. Students are increasing day by day. The administrative staff is reducing day by day. So what was an administrative staff for 300 colleges? Now half of the administrative staff is catering the needs of 900 colleges. So that's definitely something there is no scope for complaint. The scope is always for an improvement. Scope is always for a reforms, and that is what probably I just would like to present the different facets which probably the university can undertake over next 25 years, so as to become a world-class institution. And it's not just limited to University of Mumbai, but it is across all state universities throughout our country. We had one meeting at Niti Aayog where representatives of state universities were invited, and they were asked to present the issues. One of the key issues presented by one of the Vice Chancellor was that, like, we are the state universities who are catering to the 95% of the student population, but get funds less than 5% as compared to centrally funded institutions or IITs or NITs who cater for 5% population and probably get 95% funds. That's definitely an odd situation. But as I said, no scope for complaint. We need to work in the best possible. So the presentation which I am just, rather than saying it's a talk, I just would like to present what probably is coming out of discussion with various stakeholders, as well as consultations with my fellow colleagues. And probably whatever good points that have been presented is primarily because of stakeholders. It is primarily because of my fellow colleagues who have presented different reforms, different suggestions, and probably we are undertaking implementation in a phase-wise manner. So while we would like to talk about the university as a world-class institution, maybe by 2047, naturally when I am looking for those kind of features that the university must have as a world-class institution, then probably I need to answer few questions. That's the most important part. And probably while looking for those questions, I need to see that whether some of the answers have been given in the past. If not, what could have been the reason? And if the issues have been located, then how probably can be taken up in a forward direction in the best possible way. Probably looking at the overall time constraint, which probably maybe I hope around 30 to 40 minutes, I would like to sum up my all 44 slides connected with 6 different possible ways of reforms under different headings, okay, so with reference to these 6 questions. The most important part, now say it has been repeatedly stated that we are now looking at national education policy. So the most important part which NEP has stated that while you are maintaining the excellence in the higher education, it has to be inclusive, it has to be accessible, and it has to expand so as to fulfill the need of masses. That's the most important part. When I look at the overall gross enrollment ratio of our country, which is around 29.4, Maharashtra is higher than that average, national average, which is around 34.7. But say that figure is not right. Okay, so even if I say it is 29.2 something, but if I go by the bifurcation of that statistics, then I would realize that if I am looking at a gross enrollment ratio for ST candidates, scheduled tribe, those students who are coming from a disadvantaged group, then as against 29.4, which is a national average, we find that the gross enrollment ratio for a ST students is not more than 18, not more than 18, meaning thereby I could not reach the 82 students, 82 percentage student of tribal group for higher education. Okay, I am still to reach to that. So when I am looking for gross enrollment ratio around 50, which requires almost doubling of infrastructure, doubling of resources, everything, maybe by 2035, then probably while looking for that figures, some of the, say if you just go by cities, some of the cities have already crossed that. Delhi has 49. Mumbai, Delhi being a state, its gross enrollment ratio is taken up independently. But if Mumbai would have been independent, then as a proper Mumbai city, or particularly taking up the case of South Mumbai, then we would find the gross enrollment ratio of Mumbai is more than 60. Meaning thereby on one side, I have a case of Mumbai city where gross enrollment ratio is more than 60, where probably I am having a very stiff competition for every course in every college in a South Mumbai. On the other hand, I am coming across a district like Palghar, where probably the gross enrollment ratio is not crossing even 2 digit. It is less than 10, around 8 to 9. So that's a diversity. And that's the first question. That's what I would like to say. How can we ensure a quality higher education so as to reach to the marginalized section? That's the most important part. So while I am talking about excellence, I need to have an expansion without compromising excellence. That's the first. Now, having ensured, let us say like by different techniques, okay, that maybe going for larger scholarships, going for an online education, like Color Society has already gone with an online education for diploma, and that's how they are now in a position to reach to the even 12th standard BSc or MSc students in the best possible way and imparting them a quality education. So maybe going for a large scale online education, providing larger scholarships, increasing capacity of higher education, okay, that could be provided. The most important part now probably would have been, while access to marginalized have been have been provided, have been enhanced, fulfilling the requirement of sustainable development goal given by United Nations. Next point naturally is to have a right teaching learning method. Now, right now we have an end semester examination. Okay, so we always say like there are 2 end semester examinations in a year. The students will learn throughout the semester, will memorize everything and will reproduce during end semester examination, and that's how probably the results would have been achieved. Now, with this particular era where the students have born in a technology rich environment where the things are changing rapidly, like when a student takes up an admission at a first year computer engineering, by the time he completes computer engineering course, the developments in the computer engineering must have changed a lot, and naturally that requires not only having a information but rather knowledge as well as wisdom, but at the same time the student must have a capability of critical thinking, must develop creative abilities, must have cognitive abilities for problem solving. Can we have such curriculum? Can we have such teaching learning practices? Can we have such assessment practices so that these particular cognitive abilities can be thought of? So that becomes a naturally second fact. Now, probably having done so, maybe like in a phases and having gone for an improvement, next naturally we would like to say that because my country is now looking for a jump to a 5 trillion economy and probably going to a status of developed country by 2047. So that will require a fostering a culture of innovation, and that's where probably we'll have to see that while I am going for a very high quality teaching learning, okay, that teaching learning must inculcate innovative minds. That's the most important part, and there we will require lot of practices to be undertaken. And probably with these practices, okay, we need to see that the kind of innovations that they are undertaking must have society relevance, must have an industry relevance, and as a result, okay, so the overall practices connected to teaching learning assessment must be aligned to the needs of the society as well as that of an industry, and that is where probably we'll have to talk about the question 4, where we'll have to have a industry relevant curriculum. Now, probably the question 4 appears to be a normal part for an ICT like an institution, but probably it becomes a key question, it becomes a tough question, a difficult area. For an area like, say, for example, languages, okay, where probably a student is taking up a MA in Marathi, and when he completes MA in Marathi literature, and when he comes out of that, and other than teaching, right, he doesn't come across any other career, because he doesn't have that skill to utilize the knowledge which he has taken up through a variety of the facets which the Marathi as a text which has provided. So humanities probably are the key areas where we need lot of connect with the industry relevance, and that is what really we would need to look at. Now, whenever we are conducting reforms from, like, say, from first to fourth, okay, those reforms need to be gradually examined, because, say, for example, we have said that we are now going for a multidisciplinary higher education system as given by NEP, and NEP has definitely predicted certain expectations from that implementation of multidisciplinary educational curriculum reforms. Is that happening? Okay, we need a mechanism. So we need some data-driven strategies, and fortunately, now we are in era of AI, data learning or machine learning. So we can take the help, we can probably take good support from these data-driven strategies and undertake continuous monitoring of the strategies. Probably that is what is more important. Now, probably the entire world is very small, and we need to be very much globalized. And whenever probably I would have a discussion with any universities in US, or whenever I would have a discussion with any university in UK or any other European country, okay, my university standard and probably the standards of those universities must be at par, so that we could interact with them on an equal platform, not as just, say, 2 years back. Okay, now probably said the parameters are changing quite a lot. Probably I will present in one section, but just to tell you, like 2 years back, in 2022, there was probably a meeting of US vice chancellors representing 22 different universities, who interacted with 22 different state universities in Maharashtra. What was their demand in 2022? Their demand, how can you supply students? Say, we are running these courses, we will provide these many facilities, concession in fees, likewise. So that is, what does that mean? They were looking towards universities in Maharashtra as if someone supplying students who have taken up graduation in state. That was the something vision in 2000. Just 1 month back, another group of vice chancellors from US came. We had a meeting, and now there has been a sea change. Now they are looking at universities not only at Maharashtra state but across entire country at a in a partner mode, not as something as a student supply mode. So partner, they wanted to have a partnering, and probably they are trying to understand what are the strengths of our universities, and based on those strengths, probably the understanding for functional linkages is being developed, and that's how we expect many linkages to take place in near future. Now, probably when I'm talking about those 6 questions, okay, we'll have to always think of bridging certain gaps. Okay, so what we, of course, say while we are always talking about skills and skills, skills definitely provides the understanding of conducting or undertaking a particular experiments. Okay, it provides a right way of skills so as to perform certain experiments, so as to transform those experiments into actual industrial practices. Okay, that skills are definitely needed, but at the same time, it should not compromise simultaneously with the fundamentals. So we need to have a bridge between, okay, on the, say, word of learning, where we are learning something, we are trying to understand. At the same time, we like to have an hands-on training so as to develop skill, and at the same time, okay, connected between these two, okay, we will have a right exposure for actual work practices. And so while skill is definitely important, but fundamental knowledge is equally important. That is where probably when universities are looking for transformation, okay, they need to understand that whatever probably they were doing earlier on a fundamental parts, okay, that needs to be continued, but at the same time we are trying to enhance the employability of the students in the best possible way. Okay, there probably will require 6 strategies, and the concerned sections are primarily dealing with those phase-wise implementation by 2047 itself. So as I said, like inclusive practices, the most important part, as we are going for mass expansion, okay, naturally going for 50, meaning thereby the age group 18 to 22. Okay, out of that population, 50% of the students are now involved in education. Now with that, okay, the main question that we'll have to ask, each of these will have a different learning style, each of these will have a different learning trajectories. How can we have an inclusive practices so as to fulfill the needs of an advanced learner as well as that of a slow learner? Probably while doing so, when we are going for a massive expansion, can we provide equality in terms of resources, equality in terms of education tools, equality in terms of different curricular aspects? That's the important part which we'll have to talk in terms of bridging the access gap. Based on the reform that we have taken in first two, okay, we need a right data-driven strategy so as to undertake assessment of that. Research needs to be conducted by universities in cutting-edge areas, but at the same time they need to answer contemporary challenges as well. While doing so, we would like to have a right focus on environmental aspects, eco-friendly aspects. That's definitely the part. And the most important part, university must promote the local areas, region that is surrounding them. Normally it happens, okay, like the university probably providing a very good level of an higher education, but if they are not fulfilling the needs of the society which are in the neighboring areas, which was felt very much during COVID period, that like as an university, okay, we need to work for the neighboring areas through various mechanisms. There we understood that there need to be lot of outreach practices so as to fulfill the needs of the community, the neighboring areas, and university must play an important role in promoting richness of the surrounding areas. And while doing so, okay, while we are looking at local needs, we are required to fulfill global requirements as well, and that is how going with a strategic partnership probably we could think of. National education policy, lot has it has been said in a different ways that it is one of the policy that eliminates compartmentalization, that is said to be student centric. In fact, like myself and like Professor Mahanuar, okay, whenever we are looking at our students and when we are thinking of very much flexibility to the students, then really when we work out various possible combinations, because students have been given an opportunity to develop the combinations of the courses on their own through various baskets. Now that provides n number of combinations, providing a right admission strategies, fulfilling their learning requirements, okay, would have been a key challenge while fulfilling the flexibility, academic flexibility requirement of the students, and that's where really all of us are required to take care of. Now from now onwards, I just would like to, based on all this feedback which has been gathered through stakeholders and through consultation with fellow colleagues, okay, so what are the ways by which one can think of having changes phase wise? The most important part, naturally, something connected with innovations in teaching, learning and assessment practices itself. And there really we'll have to keep certain parameters which has been provided by national education policy. What it says, look at the second point, the opportunity to choose courses from different disciplines, meaning thereby a chemical technology students can take up in history, philosophy students can take up a physics, or probably a computer engineering student can take up music. Okay, so the opportunity for taking up subjects from diverse discipline, one part, multi-institutional learning, another part, and then going for a different ways of learning mechanism. Okay, not only face to face, but even in hybrid mode. Okay, that is what is expected under implementation. So there we will require lot of development on the pedagogy. Here probably when we look at what are our counterparts who are providing this kind of an academic flexibility in terms of education, when we look at our global counterpart, okay, we would see that whatever we are talking today, probably that has been done 10 years back. And now probably while we are talking about just an online education, which has been made significant, primarily because of COVID, thanks to COVID only, because of which the importance of the online education was felt. But on the other hand, now my US counterpart is looking for a education being based on virtual reality, wherein like while being present at individual virtual spaces, okay, they can interact with the learning in a three-dimensional manner, and that gives you a right way of learning in a multisensory mode. And probably language is never a problem. Okay, one can have language specific, nothing specific about language. You could have now a real-time translation thanks to the Anuvadini software which has been developed by National Education Technology Forum, and now almost they are providing a capability of having real-time translation in 16 different languages recognized by our constitution. So probably there, going with a kind of an immersive teaching in a real-time mode, having a cloud support so as to keep assignments, so as to keep the entire coursewares on a cloud, so that the student will have an access to those at any time, at any place, and that will blur the difference between physical face-to-face and online mode. Okay, that's what probably we will have to work on. And while doing so, like the last part, AIML. Okay, right now 3 AIML models are being developed with reference to education. One is said to be AI directed, which is normally for slow learner. AI assisted is normally for an advanced learner, and AI empowered would have been for an average learner. These 3 different models have been available currently, okay, who probably carry a regular analysis of learning trajectories and will provide a real-time feedback to the teachers, and that makes probably the learning really more experiential itself. Now with a shift from classroom teaching to a different modes, okay, so as we would see, it no longer just connected to classroom, but beyond classroom scholarly activities. We now on-job training or an internship was normally a part of only engineering profession, but now it has become a part of even for humanities, commerce, and that has provided not only hands-on training, but a real-time exposure to actual work practices. And probably whatever the student is doing beyond classroom, everything is being creditized. That's the most important part, and that is where the real essence of National Credit Framework, which has been developed by UGC itself. Now, probably we need to be prepared for variety of the technological aspects which is being presented in years to come, maybe another 2 to 5 years, not more than that. Some of the areas are now already routine, like MOOC, for example, online learning, MOOC e-content in a MOOC mode. Okay, that has become a regular mode. But say when I am talking about brain-computer interface, okay, which has become a reality just 2 months back only. In fact, it is still in experimental stage. But probably can we have that? Now it has been thought mainly for paralytic patients, but in near future, probably we will be talking about brain-computer interface for enhancing cognitive abilities of the students itself. And that's where we would be able to enhance the canvas of education even to those for whom we normally recognize them as a slow learner, but we would be able to have a sea change in their capabilities. going with a second phase, like having, say we need definitely different platforms with different teaching learning. Now looking at innovation and research in emerging areas, we do understand that undertaking a forecast on technology development is very difficult nowadays. So I will just tell you one statistics, okay, that makes you easy to understand why probably it's very difficult to understand. Digitization has become a routine part now, and digitization of say like money, or say the money transactions or digital transactions, that is what we call. Okay, they were introduced in like last 10 to 20 years. In 2014, if you look at the overall statistics, it was something around 2.2 million, okay, digital transactions. Within 5 years, from 2014 to 2019, it has raised by 10 times, reaching to the 22 million. And now it doesn't require 5 years now to increase by 10 times. It required just 2 years. In 2021, it has reached to 220 million digital transactions. Okay, such is the fast pace. Okay, there are many like developments which probably we did not talk about those developments 2010 back, but now they have become a routine part of our life. So forecast is of course a tough part, but even then let us try to understand what are the probable areas which may dominate next decade, and see that our faculty, our professors, okay, would be involved in undertaking creative research. And probably it's the university, not the industry, who should be the leading partner in terms of working in this the technological areas which is likely to carry lot of developments, lot of changes, lot of facilitations, okay, in each area, okay, whether it's a area of nanotechnology or whether it's a area of quantum technology, okay, everywhere we would have several areas, identify those areas and see that your faculty are involved in those cutting edge areas and undertaking a key research which is relevant to the industries. But at the same time, okay, really we are well supported by now DST in terms of a TIFI technology vision for 2035, and which has provided certain key performance indicators. On research part, okay, the universities need to fulfill those key performance indicators, and that's how, whether it is reference to funding, whether it is reference to outcome based on funding, whether it is based on consultancy connected to funding, whether it is connected to technology transfer to the industries, whether it is connected to IPR enhancement, whichever area, okay, the universities will have a larger landscape in terms of technological developments, and that is how we need to work on. AI is one of the talking point, and that's what we would say, that government has identified 5 key areas, but like each of university must take up certain area. For example, University of Mumbai has thought of, like we in Mumbai we have several hospitals, okay, probably who are giving diagnosis in a key areas like cancer, for example. So now University of Mumbai has established AI in healthcare group, who are now working with Tata Memorial Group, who are working with Nanavati Hospital, who are working with JJ Hospital, so as to undertake a data analysis of diagnosis which was conducted over last 5 years and taking up a right conclusions, and then providing that data to the hospitals which will utilize them in enhancing their research itself. So probably whichever the technological areas, universities must push the technological aspects in terms of a very creative research itself. Now just 1 month back we have seen 3 semiconductor fabrication facilities have been established. Maybe within 2 to 5 years they will become functional. But are we having do we have a right human resource connected with these semiconductors? The answer is no. Whether it is connected to research or whether it is connected to technical skills, the answer is really no, and the universities must be prepared, okay, so as to fulfill whatever the Indian semiconductor mission has targeted about in terms of like the kind of job requirements which will be generated in near future in terms of skill requirements. Third important part, probably while we are talking about very strong research area, okay, we need to have a right connect with the industries also, and that's not just connected only to engineering, but even to the other domains also. And that is where probably we'll have to look into a integration of the many aspects of industry connected to day-to-day education itself. So what we would say that internship naturally has become a compulsory part now on job training, and that's how regular questions that are being presented, that if you are talking about 4.13 crores, if you just go by statistics of the students who are pursuing higher education across country, it is 4.13 crore. So you mean now getting a right opportunity, internship opportunity for those 4.13 crore students, okay, will be a key challenge, and the universities must work in close collaboration not only with heavy industries but even MSME, so that our requirement of on-job training could have been really fulfilled. The universities must conduct market-driven research, okay, and not only for the high-scale industries but even for MSME itself. And from that angle, okay, one of the key important part that the university will define in near future, maybe for next, like again I am repeatedly telling, like just keep IITs and NITs or ICT aside, I am talking about a general state university. So for a state universities, okay, we will always look for a faculty, okay, what is really a essential contribution of a faculty in terms of industries. Now you would imagine, like for a engineer or science, their connect with industries can be understood, but what about social sciences? What about probably humanities? What about the languages? Okay. It appears that there are so many new areas that are coming up. Say for example, our economics professors have started working with now municipal corporations, and they are providing them a right advice in terms of budget planning. Some of our sociology students are going towards rural areas and are trying to study the social imbalances and probably providing a right policy decision so as to eliminate those social imbalances. So every area has a definite opportunity. English, for example, is one of the most sought after language by industries because they want a very high level of content development, and they are looking for English graduates with a professional outlook, and that's where probably we'll have to work on. And say probably, as I said, like we need to have a certain benchmarks. I'm just citing few examples. This is not very latest data, but say 5 years back we would say that one of the university, okay, so having per faculty, okay, what is the say the average industry income per faculty? That's, if you look at, it was around $400,000 US dollar by one of the German university, and we would see that another, the lowest example is something around 250,000 US dollar per faculty. So probably it, say when I am looking at Stanford University, when I am looking at MIT, okay, they always look for what is their contribution to the GDP. Universities in India should always take pride in contributing certain GDP. May not be very high to begin with, but at least by 2047, okay, we would say that every university, as our faculty including, okay, we should be in a position to contribute at least 5% of the GDP contribution. Okay, in that way, we need to work on. Now, how to facilitate this? Okay, one of the key mechanism which state universities have started working on is to develop research development R&D cell, research and development cell itself. the R&D cell is providing a research information system. Many times it does happen that one of the faculty may have a very good expertise, but if that expertise is not properly advertised, properly communicated, properly presented, if it is not properly present, then the probably concerned industries may not come across. So, we need the research and development cell to work on, and probably they will work with industries in two different mechanisms. Okay. And that is what we have started working on that part. Okay. So, the RDC will try to promote two different kinds of the cells, one in the industry and one in the universities itself. For an industry, in order to have a very good connect, okay, let us say the research and development cell will promote industry relations cell by appointing professor of practice, assistant professor of practice who are having very good industry expertise and will connect and develop better relations with the industries. On the other hand, industries also should look forward towards university. It should have been a win-win situation, and that's how industries need to promote now, and that's how we have started dialogue with many, different industrial associations that they should have university relations cell as well, so that the two together will work, will understand what are the key areas where, what are the key issues, what are the key problems that are faced by MSME, and that is how those issues could be connected, rightly connected with the expertise of the faculty and move on. And here probably we just have to think of probably something different, not only targeting heavy industries, but there are many sunrise sectors. There are many industry 4.0 sectors which are coming up, and let us concentrate on that also. Now, the fourth area that we would be looking for a right development on incubation and innovation, which has now become a buzzword. But probably when probably our country has taken a pride in having more than 100 unicorns now, around 115 unicorns currently. So, probably how to promote now in a normal university atmosphere, okay, the promotion of innovation is very difficult. So, we need to provide many other many out of box thinking approaches also. Say for example, if someone is very much willing for undertaking startups, okay, let us see that, okay, if the student wants a break for 1 year, let it be given, not an issue. Let the student to work. In case he succeeds, he will move ahead. In case he fails, he will come back, and our education system will always welcome them with a folded hand. So, that naturally has to be there, and then there could be many ways by which their learning can be promoted. Okay, we could have the incubation not only with reference to routine academic startup, but we may have to think about incubation with reference to emerging areas, cutting edge areas, and that's what the startups needs to be promoted. Going ahead with the next, like internationalization of higher education, where probably national education policy has talked about global citizenship education, that the student is no longer confined to Maharashtra state or our country, or he is a global citizen, and that's how, being a global citizen, he has to be aware of what are global issues, what are global cultural practices, so as to promote a peaceful society, okay, who are living in an harmonious manner, and that's global citizenship education probably is a main requirement asked by NEP as well as by Sustainable Development Goal as well. Now, there probably one of the concept which has been which we are coming across is borderless education. Nothing say probably the student, while we are eliminating compartments across education, we are eliminating even the border in terms of pursuing education also, and that is what either borderless education or transnational higher education, the terminologies have been developed, and we are looking beyond student and faculty exchange, but in terms of having a joint, dual and twinning degrees which could be taken up. Now, what is the current status if you look at, when I am looking at global citizenship education, when I am saying that my university must have a world class education so as to fulfill the requirement of the students coming from different countries. What is current statistics? Current statistics probably is very much odd. Okay, on one side, probably on an average in our country, okay, we are not providing education to the students of other countries, not more than 50,000. On the other hand, how many students have gone abroad? Okay, so it is more than 8 lakh. Okay, so it's an odd situation. We need to have a right balance, and that is where, okay, various mechanisms need to be taken up. The various mechanisms that can be thought of, like you need to have a single window system for a students who would be coming to our universities, okay, so that all facilities could have been provided. We need to have a now probably as a public university, we are always shy of presenting our strength. Now we need to become professional and must build our brand image across the globe, and that is how we should move on. And while going with this internationalization of higher education, okay, we would like to see that there are variety of the options which are available. And now keep in mind, one of the, as I said, like 1 month back, okay, when we met US universities, and then we found a different approach. Now, what could have been the basic, what was the change, what was the basis for change in approach? It is because of the studies conducted by those universities. I will just share two. One by UK, okay, the British Council has become so much active that they are now engaging themselves with different universities. Okay, it's not just restricted to University of Mumbai or Savitribai Phule Pune University. They are going to every university across Maharashtra and trying to pull up collaborative linkages. And already now they had tie-up with government of Maharashtra for next 3 years for working in various areas, including artificial intelligence. And while UK, if you go through their entire report, you will find that they have understood, they have tried to develop an understanding of our higher education system and trying to identify our strengths. But the most important part, like because UK has a limit, but one of the key global educational superpower, that is what we always talk about in terms of US. Now we would find the report has been just published in January 2024. And if you read this report, we would find the kind of analysis they have conducted. And they are always looking on an, as I have said, as a partner, not something one who were supplying student in the previous era. Okay, something different. Okay, they are always looking for strategic partnership in critical and emerging areas. And that is how they are now trying to build up expertise to begin with. And once our expertise is built up, then we would be able to have a joint research on in a long-term basis. So this particular task force report is really important and is an eye-opening for all of us. Now, of course, there are key challenges, because that is what we have experienced over last 9 months. When we started working with 4 US universities, 2 European universities and 3 UK universities, particularly for developing like a joint, dual and twinning degree. Each of them presents a challenge. Joint degree is one which is shared jointly by both universities. That is, the degree is awarded by both of them. Meaning thereby, if it is a 4-semester course, 2 semesters may be in our country and 2 semesters in their country. So if it is first semester in our country, second let us say UK, third again back, and fourth in UK. So then we need to see that what is being taught in first semester should become a foundation for second semester. What is being taught by UK in second semester should become a foundation for our third semester education in India. That becomes a key challenge. When I am talking about dual degree, okay, where degrees would be given by individual state universities in India and individual foreign universities abroad, okay, we need to see that are they complementing each other, whether when a student moves from the one semester for one degree to another degree for next semester, are their aspirations are rightly fulfilled. Okay, that is so many answers need to be provided. So working is a real challenge, and of course once a confidence is developed, everything becomes easier. Now, while we are talking about research, innovation, everything, okay, say it has to be kept in mind that something that was considered as an extracurricular activity has now become a co-curricular activity. I will just present one of them as sports, and probably cultural I will just skip that part, looking at the time constraint. So, probably sports itself has become a important area as a part of curriculum now. It is no longer just a area which is available only for some students, okay, it is available to all now. It has become a compulsory component now under one of the vertical out of 6 vertical, and there probably we do observe that it is not participation in the sport, but equally important is something connected to sports. Say for example, event management connected to sports, use of AI in the result declaration, use of managerial practices for best conduct of sports event. Okay, so it is not just conduct of, it is not just training in sports, but it is equally important there. There are so many other important technological part which is connected to them. So, moving ahead, now probably sustainable approach. Okay, while going with all this, okay, we will have to look at the sustainable approach as usual. Say one of the book on chemical industry in 2050, one of the book which has been published in the year 2018 something, how the chemical industry would look like in 2050, okay, and they have carried certain calculations. It is said that, okay, just going with a as usual technological developments, if you just go for that, then what would have been the energy requirement? We have seen that like 20th century, okay, over 100 years we have seen so many technological development. Now when we have entered into 21st century, within each decade we are finding lot of developments. Now 2020 onwards, we are of course coming across lot of developments after even after 1 or 2 years itself. So that is becoming a very fast paced development, and with that it says that if you are really talking about the fulfillment of an energy requirement for a progress that we look at for 2050, it says that you will need a crude oil demand something of the order of 247 million barrels a day. What is current? It is around 105 million barrels a day. Into say if you go by 2010, it was around 87 million barrels. Now connected to that, we are talking about, naturally we will have to talk about carbon emissions. Okay, the carbon emissions that have been calculated per capita per day, something around 28,000 gram, okay, with reference to that crude oil. What was there, say probably currently or 2010, okay, we would find that it was something around 16,000 gram carbon per capita per day currently, and maybe 2010 it was around 12,000. So on one side, okay, we are looking for a sea changes in the technologies, fast pace in the technologies. On the other hand, we are talking about net zero emission by 2070, a striking contrast. So on one side we predict, okay, say the carbon emissions to go to such an extent. So either, okay, there would have been very exhaustive use of energy with which is completely non-sustainable. But if you wish to fulfill our net zero emission, okay, then it says that, okay, the technology developments are supposed to be conducted, but with a sustainable approach in such a way that you should not permit carbon emissions more than 4,000 gram per capita per day. Now if you just go by calculations, okay, what that 4,000 gram per capita per day it means, okay, it is coming around like a taking up a car with a something like 130 gram carbon emission per kilometer. Then when it takes a 30 kilometer drive, okay, that will be equivalent to 4,000 gram carbon emissions. Now looking at Mumbai itself, moving from let us say Dombivli to Fort itself will consume that much carbon emissions, and we are looking for a complete net zero emission. So that presents a right challenge. So while we are pursuing, okay, while we are focusing on right teaching learning practices, right focus on research, right focus on innovations, right focus on industry connect, we need to see that we are equally having a right action plan for sustainable development so as to fulfill the energy requirements based on non-fossil fuel. Okay, by 2030, okay, we have a target that at least 50% of the energy requirement would be based on non-fossil renewable fuel. Okay, so we are talking about now green hydrogen mission, or we are talking about solar energy. Let us see, like, all these renewable energy should become a reality. Now coming to the end. Okay, so probably these 7 different areas which I have talked about. Of course, I have not added few more areas, okay, because that is something not to be discussed at a public platform. Say for example, like a governance or leadership, that is we ourselves will have to address that challenge. We are talking about training of teachers, okay, that again we need to answer on our own. Fulfillment of infrastructural augmentation, okay, that is again we will have to answer on our own. But these are 7 areas where we need to work on. So how probably a university should look like? Okay, so while we are talking about a very high level of research driven skills across university faculty, but at the same time, okay, we will have to keep in mind, we will have to have a good governance model connected with research driven strategies that we are required to fulfill the socio-economic disadvantaged group always. We will have to keep that always in mind, that there should not be a gap between have not and have it. So that something need to be thought of properly. While doing so, academic excellence, okay, while we are promoting research, academic excellence should not take up a backseat, because many times a teacher may be a good researcher but may be bad in teaching, or vice versa. Okay, neither of the things should happen. So we will have to maintain an academic excellence which is based on 360-degree feedback, and having lot of incubation practice, either okay, we have a very good striking examples either based on hub and spoke model or Fraunhofer model, which is in German model. Okay, with that really what is basically happening with university currently? Okay, with 8 lakh students, many of the operations are manual. Okay, so that's how, say, the entire, like whether it is connected to research, whether it is connected to students, whether it is connected to teacher promotions, okay, everything is in manual mode. So that is the traditional way of management, which is now getting changed. Okay, so where we will have to identify what are probably expected output, what are expected output from that. Right from, like if you look at the overall life cycle of a student, let us say moving from enrollment till award of degree, where probably the teachers may be coming like looking for conduct of exams, or probably looking at training trajectories of the student. Non-teaching staff may be looking for certain administration. So we need certain way, unified mechanism based on a certain identity pattern. Of course, now with academic bank of credit and DigiLocker, that mechanism is becoming available, and then based on that, probably we would be able to. So now probably we are doing manual exercise that causes lot of expenditure of human hours. Okay, if you have a right strategy for digitization, okay, then the reports that are required for different stakeholders, like for example, for a teacher who would like to understand like what is an overall progress of my different students of a class of 6 students. Okay, so at touch of button that has to be there. For a public system, okay, whatever they would like to have kind of a reports, they must be in a position to extract those. Okay, so if that becomes available, then probably we would be able to plan resources properly. And I am glad to present before you that now probably state universities in Maharashtra have already geared up. I am not talking just about my University of Mumbai, but it is across all state universities who are very much geared for this kind of a fast kind of a digitization, okay, which will help in developing our strategies on all 7 key result areas, KRAs, which I have presented before you. And if that happens, probably, okay, of course, So nothing will change in 1 year or 5 years. Okay, it will, as I said, we are looking for a 25-year kind of a plan, and with that, by 2047, probably the universities would have been established themselves as something who would be contributing to the global knowledge economy. Okay, so probably we are talking about 5 trillion and then moving towards, we are now 5th largest, moving towards 3rd largest, and then by 2047 we like to become 2nd largest. Okay, that economy should have been contributed by knowledge economy as well, and universities must play a key role in exercising that. Probably that is what all of us as a Vice Chancellors are hopeful in facilitating those in coming 5 years, and if that happens, then that will become a real part. So thanks to all of you for probably patient listening for a entire so maybe 45 minutes. Okay, so that कुठं आलेत का ते इथं आलेत का. So thanks for patient listening. As I said, it's not my presentation, it's a presentation developed by a joint exercise, and of course I do invite your feedback also. It's not, I won't call it as question answer, but I would like to have your feedback also on these particular strategies. Some of the strategies you may find something like a which is not possible to implement, non-implementable, you may think of that, but our understanding over the 9 months, okay, has given a due confidence that we will be able to do it. May not be at a fast pace like my South Korean counterpart or US counterpart, but at least whatever being required for a democratic country like my beloved country. Okay, so whatever democracy, whatever the pace that our democracy permits, okay, we will work with that, and we would like to see that our universities will really become the real strategic partners in terms of knowledge economy for our beloved country. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you, Dr. Kulkarni, for the enlightening presentation on the evolving landscape of the Indian education, and I really hope everything that you have envisioned really happens, and instead of people going abroad to study, they actually find India a more innovative and approachable landscape for education. And actually your speech has left me a bit bittersweet, because now I feel I should have graduated in 2047 and not now. And I'm sure many people in the audience also feel the same. So as we approach the conclusion of this event, I now invite Professor Mahanwar, Honorary Secretary of the Color Society, to extend a collective gratitude and acknowledgements.
Good evening. My colleague, Professor Ravi Kulkarni, all the dignitaries in the auditorium. It's my really great pleasure to be present. Formal note of thanks for this great evening. I think it's my duty to thank Professor R.D. Kulkarni for accepting my invitation and this society invitation just by a call. And then very next day we decided a topic, and we decided that we will have this lecture. Even though has a very busy schedule, he is having online meeting immediately, I think in 8:30, 9 o'clock. So still he said, okay, I'll manage it. So Professor Kulkarni, thank you very much. And as a token of appreciation, may I request Shivaji Durgal to present a memento to Professor R.D. Kulkarni, Vice Chancellor, University of Mumbai. Give big applause. I'm thankful to Professor E.B. Pandit for being here for entire program. Generally, he has a busy schedule, so we try to skip away. But today, being a colleague, I think, and the topic was of our own interest, so we thought that he will be here. Sir, thank you very much, and we always expect your guidance for this society. I thank Priya ma'am for accepting our invitation and accepting our speaker. That is very much important, because generally every year we discuss with ma'am for selecting the speaker for this particular lecture. And I think my president, he called up madam. I was unable to talk to her, but then she accepted immediately, and then we planned this lecture. It's really great that all of you are here. Generally it happens, even today there is little less attendance of the students because the exams are going on, exams are approaching. Master's and undergraduate programs they're having exams, I think, immediately after weeks. So possibly that's a reason why the student population is very less for today's program. So I thank all of you for being here and memorizing the great visionaries, what I can say, memories of late Shri Bhumkar sir. I had an opportunity to interact with him many occasions, and it was really a great thing. And I feel I lost many things I would have learned in the last 15 years. But of course, his memories are still live and are always guiding to all of us. Thank you very much, and good night.
Thank you, Professor Bhanwar. I once again want to thank all our speakers, guests, and attendees for enriching us tonight, for everyone who's present here and everyone who's watching the live stream on YouTube. I also want to take this opportunity to invite all of you to like and subscribe to ICT as well as Color Society social media pages. So please do that today if it's possible. And finally, I also want to invite all Color Society members to capture this memorable moment and seal it in a photograph. Thank you so much, everyone. All the members, please join the stage.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for such great information.
Thank you so much.
Lot of information.
Amazing amount of visionary stuff that you showed with us. खूप काम आहे पुढे.
काम भरपूर आहे.
आम्हाला करण्यासारखे काय असेल ते नक्की सांगा.
निश्चित लागणारच तुमचं.
खूप छान
Okay,
information.
thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Very wonderful evening today. Okay. खूप छान झालं. Thank you so much.
If we publish this in our journal, will be okay?
हां सर म्हणजे हे आर्टिकल तयार करायचं का?
Slides only.
हां चालेल.
And he
किंवा
will, I
मग
think,
त्याचं
cover
हे
it
करून
in
देतो आर्टिकल.
India. He will
आर्टिकल
cover it. He'll write everything, whatever.
अच्छा अच्छा.
That can be all right.
हां चालेल. पण मी पाहिजे आर्टिकलही करून देतो. थांबणार आहे का? थांबणार आहे? नाही इथेच
Online meeting.
हॅलो.
Yeah.
हां हां.
Adi, yeah.